going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Monday. That's right, back on the grind. I do hope you had an awesome weekend. Now, currently having a look at Bitcoin, 0%. What a very lackluster Monday. Well, is this the calm before the storm? We're going to talk about that in just a second. You can see right here, we clearly did have this little dump right here, but I want to go into one particular thing that's happening on the charts right now that has happened a few times in the past, and every single time it happened, not only did it present a very good buying opportunity for Bitcoin, but it was also a reversal. So could this actually be the big, massive, explosive move we've all been waiting for? Well, we're going to get into that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I also want to talk about a proposed law by the U.S., essentially to not tax smaller purchases for Bitcoin. That would be pretty cool, right? So we're definitely going to get into all of that, and not to mention the fact that we have the greatest transfer of wealth of all time. And if you're interested, definitely stick around. We're going to keep this video a little bit short today. I do have some things to do, but stick around to the end. I think you're going to find a lot of value out of it. And if you're not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel and you're new, well, what are you waiting for? We do this virtually every single day and every Monday, which is today. We give away the Ledger Nano S. You have to keep your crypto safe. Get them off exchanges, guys. Now, let's dive in. Let's have a look. Let's give this a refresh. Now, Bitcoin dominance at 66%. So we've pulled back about 0.6%. We still do have some altcoins, Digix DAO, Bitcoin SV again, Energy Dash, Zcash, Made Safe, Bitcoin Gold, Tezos, Ethereum Classic. I'm not going to go through them all, but altcoins are still doing quite well today. They are having a nice bounce back. Bitcoin, sitting around that 0.14%. So not much has changed with Bitcoin. However, we did have a nice bounce back from when we did hit the bottom, but you can see we started out here, came down here, and we're pretty much exactly where we were a day ago. So it was really just like a giant sort of flush out that we had, right? But we are still sitting lower. Let's have a look. We are currently still being supported by this green trend line, which I have considered to be pretty important so far. You could see the significance of that. Now, if we were to fall down and retest, you could see Bitcoin pop down to maybe 8.4K or even retest the 8.1 to 2K level on the resistance. However, I wouldn't want to fall too much lower than that. And I'm going to explain to you why short term, but you can see that even though we have pulled back, we did potentially have a little bit, well, I did speak about the CME gap, although you can't see it on here because it's the weekend. But I do want to point out that we are still sitting above the 200 daily on CME. And, we are still following this trend. So as you can see right here, basically, we come up and we come back down. Bitcoin pops up. Bitcoin comes back down. So, maybe we're just kind of following this trend right now, right? That could be the possibility. But like my buddy Josh Rager said, the important thing to keep an eye on is the market structure and the trend change. And that's what we're looking for, is a change in the trend. Price would likely bounce at low 8Ks, which is kind of what I was saying around the 8.1K. You don't really want to fall lower than that. Unless price made its way down to 7.7K, I wouldn't worry. And the reason that he's saying that is because, where I showed you where we had those bounces, you can see right here, we came up to, that 8.4K level, and then we touched right down here, which was a very significant bounce at around 7,676, or we could just basically round that to 7.7K. Now, we did fall out of this sort of ascending wedge, but you could see right here when we peaked out, even though we are out of that wedge potentially, we did still get supported by that 8.5K level. We tested it 1, 2, 3 times, okay? So it does look like the bulls are in control, and maybe the weak hands have been weeded out of the market, right? We do know Bitcoin does tend to have some tricks up its sleeve. It is possible. One thing I actually want to point out, though, is something I haven't looked at in a while, which is actually the 200 daily versus the 200 exponential on the daily. Also, shout out to Crypto Lark. He was the one that kind of brought this on my radar, which is pretty interesting. But you can see right here, essentially what we have right here is the, if you see right here, we have the 200 daily, which is the yellow line, and we have the 200 EMA, which is the blue line. Now, if we look at this historically, whenever we have the yellow underneath the blue, we are in a bull run, and you can see whenever it tends to flip, well, that's when we fall a little bit bearish. Now, currently, we are actually inverted, which would mean historically, this is actually a bearish setup, but there is a potential for us to have a cross right here. Now, you do know most of these moving averages are kind of lagging indicators, right? So the question is this actually the reversal starting, and are we looking for a potential golden cross? I can't really estimate this, but, maybe by the beginning to mid-February, that is something to keep our eyes on. But for everyone that thinks that, Bitcoin, we fell down from 14K, this is crazy, we're still on the stock to flow. In fact, the stock to flow is like between that 8.3K to 8.6K, which is exactly where we are. So realistically speaking, Bitcoin couldn't be really any more exactly where it should be according to the stock to flow, right? And, the one thing that I want to point out, and this is the really big thing, this is the kicker here, is if you actually look at the bottom of all of these trend reversals, after we have these major downtrends into uptrends, you notice that we start with a doji, which is basically just like a candle that looks like this. It doesn't even look like a candle. It just looks like a plus sign, right? And you can see when we had, these two back here in March and April of 2012, that sort of sparked the next bull. Then we came down here after this massive fall after the peak of December of 2013. And look, we put in another doji. Then we did have the rise up to the top. We came back down, and zooming into basically what we did, right before we had the reversal from the 3.2K bottom, we put in another doji. And if we have a look right here, guys, it does look like the month of January currently is attempting to put in a doji candle. Now, obviously, we're only 2/3 of the way through January. We do need one more month of confirmation. However, if we do end this month on a potential doji, well, then it could be looking pretty good for Bitcoin. I'm not expecting a massive blast off move, but I would expect a nice curve into the next parabolic run. Now, that's if we do end the month the way that we said we would. And also, I do want to give a shout out to Nunya Business. He did point this out as well. Speaking about the charts with the dojis, you can see he points out a lot of the reversals right here. So really interesting. I do wonder if we're finally waiting for that incredible setup, that a lot of people have been waiting for quite some time, right? We do know that we do have the halving coming up in May. I did say there was that possibility to, even see a $11,800 Bitcoin potentially before even, coming all the way back down to 7.7K. We have a lot of room to bounce around here, but the trend does look like we are holding and we have not fallen below it. So for anyone out there that says the bottom is not in, the bottom being like we're going to go below 3,200, hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but I don't think you're going to be able to buy Bitcoin that cheap ever again. That's my opinion, not financial advice, but I would say that, the closer we get to touching this line down here, the better. So obviously the best buys were right around the 6.4K to 7K level. But that being said, let me know what you guys are doing. A lot of you are dollar cost averaging. That's what you said yesterday in yesterday's poll. So that is a good strategy. It's definitely less stressful. You can certainly sleep better at night. If you are trading on leverage, it obviously is very risky, but dollar cost average, that's the way to go, guys. Now, over here, we can see a draft law has been proposed with bipartisan support to exclude from taxation small capital gains of up to $200 when making purchases. Now, I know $200 isn't a lot, but think about it. Most average small purchases are daily purchases are probably no more than $200, right? If you're just going out to buy something, right? So they say the preceding sentence shall not apply if the gain, which would otherwise be recognized on the transaction, exceeds 200. In addition, any capital gains on any amount are excluded as long as the capital gains are 200 or less. The bill introduced by Representatives Delbene, Schwarzerk, Soto, and Emmer would address the problem by simply treating cryptocurrency similar to other foreign currency. Now, this is a big step forward, in my opinion. This is actually recognizing Bitcoin as currency, which I think is pretty cool. You can see as the law currently stands, if you bought, for example, $1 worth of Bitcoin and that increased to $3 and you went to go buy a cup of coffee with it, you'd have to actually report those $2 to the IRS. Practically no one can keep account, of these small amounts. So I'm really happy to see that they are implementing. It's not official, but it is a step in the right direction. Of course, we do have, Mr. Trump over here. He did put this tweet out on July 11th, and he's not a fan. He's made that very clear. Someone who also is not clearly a fan of Bitcoin, who unfortunately had a little bit of a password incident, possibly. So anyway, moving on, guys, I do want to talk about this. This was a very interesting tweet that I stumbled across, and it says, Oxfam's report, now check this out, noted that someone who saved 10,000, this is crazy, $10,000 a day since the construction of the Egyptian pyramids would still be 80% less wealthy than the world's 5 richest billionaires. Do you comprehend that? It's a difficult thing to comprehend, isn't it? You can see down here, actually, Crypto Krilla said $1 billion is an absolutely absurd amount of money. Now, this is discussing the wealth gap that just keeps getting wider and wider and wider. The human brain doesn't even know how to realize such large numbers. For example, 1 million seconds, 11 days. 1 billion seconds, 32 years. Can we simply admit the current capitalist model is a failure? But getting back to what he said, my goodness, had you saved $10,000 a day since the Egyptian pyramids, you would still be 80% less wealthy than the world's 5 richest billionaires. I can't stop reading that. It's really seriously blowing my mind. But here's the thing I wanted to talk about, and this is called the Great Wealth Transfer. We talked about it yesterday when I was basically referencing Token Vision's video, which everyone should definitely check out. But you can see right here, the Great Wealth Transfer is expected to take place in the coming years. Simply put, there will be a generational shift in the world, where millennials are expected to take over from previous generations. The average Bitcoin user, by the way, is also typically between the ages of 16 and 34, which shows that crypto is very much a young person's trend. Now, Barry Silbert, he's the CEO of Grayscale, he commented on the generational wealth shift as well, and he said that over the next couple of decades, there's going to be 68 trillion, think about that, worth of wealth that's held by baby boomers and the older generation in the US alone. That's just the US, guys. That's going to be handed down to Generation X and to millennials. His theory is that whatever of the 68 trillion that is currently in gold, he doesn't think it's all going to stay there. To date, there's over 13,000 Bitcoin millionaires, which really isn't a lot when you think about it. 13,000, I mean, we could probably picture that number, right? So just think about the upside and the potential of this moving forward. Not to mention, do I have to go over how small the market cap of Bitcoin is again? Very early, guys. Anyone that thinks they're late to the party, very, very early, guys, okay? Also, keep this in mind. It's not just price, right? It's not just trying to find a better investment, but fundamentally, the whole space in general has been booming. A new report from LinkedIn says that blockchain specifically, blockchain professionals are in demand in this year, okay? The report places blockchain at the top of a list of hard skills. They are highly sought after above expertise, things like cloud computing, analytical reasoning, artificial intelligence, user experience design, business analysis, affiliate marketing. Blockchain beats them all. A recent study from Indeed found that the number of jobs in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry increased from 26% in 2018 to 2019, which means that even though we were having that downtime, we were in a bear, still growing, guys. Fundamentally, it was still building. So just keep that in mind moving forward. And before we go, guys, assume you were neutral on Bitcoin, okay? What annual rate of return would you require in exchange for exposure? Now, this is just what an average investor would be hoping to get essentially at the end of an investment, right? For example, you can see right here, 10 to 30% essentially was the number one vote, okay, followed by 30 to 70% and then 70%. But obviously, most people in traditional markets are not looking for these Bitcoin gains. I mean, when you're talking about Bitcoin, you're talking about a crypto, you're talking about, I want a 2x, a 5x, a 10x. Most people in traditional assets are happy to just get a percentage back. If I could just get 10%, 15%, 20%, but we're so spoiled in these crypto markets of these 5x gains, 10x gains. You can see right here, Bitcoin has returned about 390% annual since inception. So what do you think is the better investment? Not financial advice, guys. But I think on that note, we're going to leave it. I do have to keep today's video short. Freaking love you guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. What are we doing? Still hanging around the same level. So like Josh Rager said, we would like to hold above the 7.7K. It wouldn't be out of the question to fall down and have the previous resistance of the wedge become support. However, that being said, guys, if we can definitely hold above this and close these candles out on the weekly and especially the monthly, and this doji plays out, well, then I think we're going to have a very explosive 2020 for Bitcoin. And all I can say is it is a pleasure and honor to have you here on the Crypto Zombie channel. And if you enjoy content like this, leaving a like, subscribing, dropping me a comment, you don't have to. It does make me feel a little bit better, not gonna lie, after I spent all this time making these videos every day. But honestly, guys, just having you just watch the video is enough for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You rock. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Oh my goodness, I just realized I have to give away a ledger. Guys, okay, we're gonna do this live. We are gonna do this live. Okay, so this is crazy. We're doing this live. So let's see, what is it? Random number generator. Okay. And then we have to get our random comment picker. We're gonna do this live, guys, so you know I'm not making this stuff up. I just totally forgot. Okay, so we had 6 videos, generate. Oh, numbers, so was yesterday's video. Wow, so whoever commented on yesterday's video, you are the one that's eligible. So let's go to yesterday's video. Copy, let's go over here. I can't believe I almost forgot to do this. YouTube random picker. All right, let's, oh wait, no, I think it goes here, my bad. See, guys, Doing it live. We're doing it live. Okay, 686 comments. Wow, that's a lot of comments, guys. All right, drum roll, please, for the Ledger Nano S from yesterday's video. Crypto daddies, you better buy now before we hit 9,500K. Well, that's what we've been saying all along, Crypto Daddy. So, Crypto Daddy, I'm sure you already keep your crypto on a ledger with a name like Crypto Daddies, but hey, you are the winner, so hit me up, and if I don't hear from you in 24 hours, I'll just assume you don't want it, and we will give it away to somebody else. So, that being said, guys, I usually end on my home screen, don't I? So that's it from me today. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.